Good morning again. Let's start off with question and answers and why on the subject crop protection naman. So, question number one. The autogenetic theory of disease states that letter A, diseases are very infectious. Letter B, diseases are caused by germs or microorganisms. Letter C, pathogens are outgrowths of the disease and not the cause. Or letter D, the disease is caused by unfavorable weather and infertile soil. So, for us to answer this accurately and to answer this correctly, we need to understand ano ba itong autogenetic theory of disease. Okay? Ang autogenetic theory of disease ay isang theory on diseases na ang pinaniniwalaan nila is the idea na yung mga pathogens like bacteria and fungi, hindi sila yung nagkukos ng disease. So yun yung unang condition, yun yung isa sa unang yun yung paniniwala ng autogenetic theory. Number one, yung pathogens, they do not cause the disease. But rather, yung itong mga pathogens na to, they are an outgrowth of the disease state of the organism. So basically, what happens daw dito sa autogenetic theory of disease is magkakasakit yung halaman for some reason, and kapag nagkasakit yung halaman na to, yung paghina ng halaman na to, doon na nagpo-produce ng mga pathogens like bacteria and fungi. So yun yung idea ng autogenetic theory of disease. So it posits, naniniwala sila na yung halaman, kapag nagkasakit, yung reason ng pagkasakit ng halaman will now produce the pathogen like bacteria and fungi. So the autogenetic theory of disease is different or in opposite with the germ theory of disease. Kasi sa germ theory of disease, ang sinasabi niya is that microorganisms or pathogens, sila yung nagkukos ng diseases. Okay? So this is in contrast with the autogenetic theory. So again, ang autogenetic theory of disease, ang paniniwala niya is kapag nagkasakit yung halaman, then doon nagpo-produce ng pathogen like fungi and bacteria. Sa germ theory naman, hindi. Sabi ng germ theory, mali ang assumption na yan. Ang halaman, dahil nagkasakit yan, ay dahil sa mga pathogen na fungi and bacteria. So, given the knowledge that we have right now, saan kayo maniniwala? Sa germ theory ba o sa autogenetic theory of disease? Tama, dapat sa germ theory kayo maniwala. Okay? Kasi ang disease is caused by a pathogen, not the other way around. It is not the disease causing the pathogen, but rather the pathogen causing the disease. So given that, ano ang tamang sagot dito? Ano ang autogenetic theory din? It is letter C, 'di ba? Pathogens are outgrowths or pathogens are caused by the disease and they are not the cause itself. So letter C ang tamang sagot dyan. Yan. So letter C ang tamang sagot. O ito, diseases are caused by germs or microorganisms. Ano yan? Yan yung germ theory natin. Okay, so yun yung germ theory. Diseases are very infectious. So, yes, tama naman yung statement, pero it does not describe yung autogenetic theory of disease. Remember, the question is asking, ano daw to? Okay. O pati itong letter D, diseases is caused by unfavorable weather and infertile soil. Well, yes, some diseases may caused by that, pero again, hindi niya dinidefine kung ano ba ang autogenetic disease. So letter D is wrong, letter A is wrong, letter B is germ theory, letter C is the autogenetic theory of disease. Question number 2. The causal organism of the root knot of most vegetable. So ano daw tayang tawag doon sa organism that is causing root knot in most vegetables? So ano ba kasi ang root knot? Root knot looks like this. So doon sa root ng most vegetables natin, nagkakaroon ng formation of galls, mostly maliliit lang to, and mostly pare-parehas yung sizes, and mostly they are uniformly distributed doon sa root ng ating vegetable. Ngayon, kapag yung vegetable mo nagkaroon ng galls, what happens now is na aapektuhan yung pag-absorb niya ng nutrients and water from the soil. Therefore, nagkakaroon ng stunted growth, kakaroon ng yellowing of leaves, nagwi-wilt yung leaves, and of course, bumababa yung ating yield. So, anong organism daw yung nagkukos ng root knot? Yun yung tinatanong doon sa question. So, unahin natin si Phytophthora infestans. So, ang Phytophthora infestans, ang kinokos niya na sakit is late blight among potatoes and tomatoes. So, ano ba kasi ang Phytophthora infestans? It is a fungus-like organism. So, hindi siya fungi, ah. Remember that sa exam. Phytophthora infestans is not a fungi, but rather it is an oomycete. Okay? So, different from fungi. Fungus-like siya, pero ang technical term niya is ang Phytophthora infestans is a type of oomycete. So again, it is responsible for late blight. So nagkakaroon ng blight yung dahon ng patatas or ng kamatis. And then kapag nagkaroon ng blight, nagkakaroon din ng syempre na kapag nagkaroon ng blight yung dahon, it affects yung photosynthesis and hindi na ngayon nakakapag-produce ng maayos na bunga yung ating patatas or kamatis. So that's Phytophthora infestans. It does not cause gall sa roots ng vegetables. So this is not the correct answer already. It's eliminated. How about Rhadophilus similis? So Rhadophilus similis is also called your burrowing nematode. And itong nematode na to ay isa sa mga major pests ng crops like banana and citrus. So ano yung main na symptom na binibigay ng Rhadophilus similis? Nagkakaroon ng lesions and pagkabulok yung roots ng ating banana or citrus. So walang root knot na symptom sa Rhadophilus similis, but rather pagkabulok or lesions doon sa roots ng ating banana or citrus. So Rhadophilus similis is not the correct answer kasi wala na namang knot na symptom dyan, root knot na symptom dyan. How about Plasmodiophora brassicae, also referred to as clubroot disease among crucifers? So ang tinatamaan ng Plasmodiophora brassicae is mostly crucifers. So anong type ng pathogen ba ang Plasmodiophora brassicae? It is a type of protist. So hindi siya bacteria, hindi siya fungi. Ang technical term sa Plasmodiophora brassicae is a type of protist. Ngayon, kung papansinin natin sa picture, parang similar siya doon sa symptoms ng root knot. Tama? Yeah, similar. However, ang technical term dyan ay hindi root knot but rather clubroot. And clubroot is different from root knot. How? Kung mapapansin natin sa root knot na picture kanina, medyo maliliit lang yung mga swelling or yung presence of galls doon sa roots ng ating vegetables. However, for clubroot, medyo malalaki yung swelling. And at the same time, mostly localized lang, kalat-kalat siya hindi siya uniformly spread out sa roots ng ating halaman, but rather kalat-kalat siya. So may part doon sa root ng halaman na maraming galls or maraming clubroot, may mga parts naman na wala. And medyo hindi ganun ka-uniform yung sizes niya as compared to our root knot na sakit kanina. Therefore, Plasmodiophora brassicae is not the correct answer. Kasi hindi root natin yung symptoms niya but rather clubroot, and inaapektuhan niya mostly are crucifers. So therefore, the correct answer now is letter B. Okay, so letter B ito, Meloidogyne incognita. So ang Meloidogyne incognita, ang tawag din sa kanya is root knot nematode. Isa ito sa mga major pathogen that is causing root knot among a large variety of vegetables. So, itong mga nematodes kasi na to, ini-invade nila or pinapasok nila yung mga root system ng ating vegetables, kaya nagkukos ng galls or nuts doon sa root. And kapag nagkaroon na ng galls or nuts among the roots, nahihirapan na ngayon mag-absorb yung halaman ng nutrients and water, and it will now affect yung growth ng halaman na yun. So, given that the causal organism for root knot is Meloidogyne incognita. O ano ulit ang type ng pathogen? Ano ulit ang tawag sa what type of pathogen is Plasmodiophora brassicae? That is a protist. How about yung Rhadopholus similis? Yan ay nematode, parang Meloidogyne incognita, right? How about Phytophthora infestans? Hindi yan fungi, fungi-like, also termed as oomycete. So the third question is related to this question. Ano daw ang tawag doon sa infective stage of root knot nematode? Would that be first stage juveniles, second stage juveniles, third stage juveniles, or fourth stage juvenile? So the question is asking, anong stage kung saan yung nematode natin ay kaya na niyang mag-infect ng roots? So would that be first stage, second stage, third stage, or fourth stage juvenile? So we need to understand ano ba yung life cycle ng nematode para masagot natin itong katanungan na to. So ang nematode, nag-i-start yan bilang isang itlog. Okay? And iniitlog yan, of course, ng mga female nematodes. It's either doon sa root mismo na in-infect niya or doon sa soil. Ngayon, itong itlog na to, magha-hatch siya. And when it hatches, it will now go into the first stage juvenile. So sa first stage juvenile, newly hatched pa lang yung mga nematodes na to and hindi pa sila masyadong magalaw. So limited pa yung kanilang mobility and wala pa silang ability to infect the root itself. And then after the first stage juvenile, magkakaroon ng molting, and kapag nag-molt na yung ating nematode, comes now J2 or yung ating second stage juvenile. Now, sa second stage juvenile, yan yung critical. Kasi ito na yung stage kung saan kaya na ng nematode na mag-infect ng roots. Okay? Kasi sa second stage juvenile ng ating nematode, ng nagkakaroon siya ng structure na ang tawag natin is stylet. So ano tong stylet na to? Itong structure na to is parang needle na tumutubo doon sa ating nematode, and yung needle na to, yan yung ginagamit niya para tumusok doon sa roots ng halaman. So kapag tumusok na siya doon sa move ng halaman, papasok na ngayon siya doon and doon na siya mag-grow into its other stages of development na rin. So after J2, magkakaroon ng molting. So comes J3. Sa J3, yung ating nematode nakapasok na. So hindi na niya kailangang mag-infect, but rather ang ginagawa na lang ng nematode natin sa stage 3 is that it will continue to feed on the roots of the plant and it will continue to grow. Now, if it continues to grow and feed, comes now stage 4. So magmo-molt ulit siya kung saan magkakaroon ng stage 4. So that's J4. Yan na yung pinaka ending ng juvenile stage ng nematodes bago siya maging adult. So after J4, it would either be a male mature nematode or a female mature nematode. Kapag female yung ating mature nematode, most likely mananatili lang yan doon sa roots. So dyan na siya kakain, dyan na rin siya mangingitlog, or pwede na rin siyang mangitlog doon sa soil, pero nandun pa rin siya sa roots nag-i-stay. Now, kapag naman male yung ating nematode, more than likely lumalabas yan sa root ng halaman para maghanap ng female companion para kamate niya and makapag-reproduce sila ng offspring na nematodes. So yan, yung life cycle of nematode. Now, given that, ano ulit yung question? Ano daw yung stage kung saan infective or nag-i-infect yung ating nematode? And ayon sa napag-usapan natin kanina, ito yung stage ng second stage juvenile. Next question. The pest population density in which the cost of control is equal or much higher than the expected cost of harvest of the protected crop. Ano kayang tawag daw doon sa level kung saan yung cost of controlling yung peste ay equal or mas mataas pa doon sa expected na benefit or cost ng pag-harvest doon sa crop. Ang tawag ba dyan ay economic injury level? Letter B, economic threshold level. Letter C, equilibrium level. Or letter D, damage level. So before answering this, we need to understand ano ba kasi yung economic decision making in an integrated pest management system. So again, ano ulit ang IPM? That is your integrated pest management. Ito ay isang holistic na approach to manage yung mga pests natin using multiple strategies. So hindi lang tayo gumagamit basta-basta ng chemical. Pwedeng gumamit tayo ng mga cultural practices, biological practices, or other practices aside from chemical in order to control and manage pests. So yan yung sinasabi ng IPM. Ngayon, pagdating sa pag-aaral ng IPM, it is important na pag-aralan yung kailan tayo magde-decide na kailangan na nating mag-spray. So that's the question. When will we decide that we already need to spray? Kapag malala na yung peste doon sa yung halamanan. Pero kailan 'yon? So para malaman natin kung kailan 'yon, we need to discuss yung mga different concepts na nandito sa diagram na to. First off, yung tinatawag nating economic injury level. So sa economic injury level, nandyan na yung damage na mismo yung ating halamanan. So dito, kung titignan natin dito sa graph na to, your y-axis signifies pest population, whereas your x-axis signifies time. So ibig sabihin yan, habang tumataas yung pest population, tumataas din mostly yung level of damages. So at this level, ang tawag dyan, economic injury level. Dito, mataas na masyado yung pest population density and yung cost ng damage niya is equal to the cost of controlling it. So ibig sabihin yan, at that level of pest population, kung kinontrol mo siya, wala kang kikitain, wala ka ring lugi. Kumbaga break even lang kayo. Kasi yung cost ng controlling it, the cost of controlling it will be equal to the cost of its damage. So tabla lang. Okay? Tabla lang. Kapag nag-implement ka ng control strategy under economic injury level, tabla lang. Sometimes yung economic injury level mo pa mas mataas. So therefore, in that particular level, hindi tabla or hindi break even yung mangyari, malulugi ka pa kapag nag-implement ka ng control measure. So itong economic injury level na to, ito yung level of pest population iniiwasan talaga natin. Kaya naman, mayroon tayong tinatawag na level. Ang tawag natin sa level na nasa baba ng economic injury level is yung economic threshold level. So sa economic threshold level, ito yung level kung saan tama lang na to take action para mag-prevent ng further damage. So at this level, we take action para maiwasan natin na yung population ng peste ay umakyat pa. So it is a preventive measure. So once na na-hit, for example, nung bilang ng peste or pest population density itong level na to, dapat mag-take action ka na. Dapat huwag mo nang hayaan kasi kapag hinayaan mo, aakyat yan sa economic injury level and it's too late already. Now, ano naman yung level na nasa baba? Ito yung level of equilibrium. Ano ibig sabihin yan? Sa under the level of equilibrium, yung population density or yung population ng ating insect ay nasa tama, balance lamang na environment. Kasi hindi mo naman may iwasan na ma-eradicate lahat ng peste sa ating environment, sa ating halamanan, sa ating garden, tama? So, may times na tama lang yung level. And what does that mean? Hindi mo kailangan kontrolin yung kanilang population. But in any ways, yun yung tatlong importanteng concept when it comes to the economic decision making in integrated pest management. So economic injury level, that's too late already. Damage has already been done. Yung cost of control mo is equal or even greater than the benefit that you will be receiving. How about yung economic threshold? Diyan kailangan yung control. So you need to take action there para ma-prevent yung damage. How about yung equilibrium level? Yung equilibrium level natin is the level that refers kung saan yung pest population mo ay hindi tumataas, hindi rin siya bumababa, kumbaga sakto lang. Sakto lang siya doon sa fighting forces ng environment. So nakokontrol ng kusa yung kanyang population under the equilibrium level. Meron pa isang choice doon sa concept kanina, which is the damage level. So ano ba yung damage level? The damage level generally just means the amount of pest damage that a crop can tolerate before a significant economic loss occurs. So hindi siya part ng economic decision making model natin, but rather it's just a term which means yung amount ng pest damage that a crop can tolerate before a significant economic loss occurs. So given this concept, ano ngayon ang sagot? Ano daw yung tawag sa level kung saan yung pest population density is mataas, wherein yung cost of control is equal or much higher than the expected cost of harvest, or yung cost of control, yung pag-control sa peste na yon, mas mataas yung cost or equal kaysa doon sa maha-harvest mo. So anong tawag doon? Mataas na yung level of damage, therefore ang tawag is economic injury level. Last question. This does not characterize a root-feeding nematode. So, again, alin daw sa mga choices na to do not characterize a feeding nematode. So, let's analyze the choices. Unang-una, does a root knot nematode feeds on roots, bulbs, and rhizomes? Yes, 'di ba? Kasi ang root knot nematode with the name root, right? It feeds on roots. And it feeds on specialized roots such as bulbs and rhizomes. So tama tong statement na to. So dahil tama tong statement na to, hindi yun yung hinahanap natin kasi ang hinahanap natin is yung incorrect statement. How about this? It possesses a stylet. O ano ano yung sinabi natin kanina during the second juvenile stage of the nematode? Nagkakaroon siya ng structure which we term as stylet. Kasi yung stylet na yun, yan yung parang needle na pumapasok doon sa halaman para i-infect niya yung halaman. Tama? So yes, a root knot nematode possess a stylet. Do they prefer sandy soil texture? So that's a question na medyo hindi common sense, right? But ganito ko siya i-explain. Yes, root knot nematode prefer a sandy soil structure because mas nakakagalaw sila doon as compared to a clayey soil structure. Ang sandy soil structure kasi mas may air siya, so mas maluwang yung pore spaces kung saan nakakagalaw yung mga nematode na to. Kapag masyadong clayey yung lupa mo, masyadong compacted yung lupa, hindi sila masyadong nakakagalaw, hindi sila masyadong nakaka-travel, therefore hindi sila nakaka-infect ng roots. Last option, root knot nematode causes death of plant as a typical symptom. Kapag na yung halaman mo na-infect ng root knot nematode, namamatay yung halaman mo. Yun ang sinasabi niya. Tama, mali? Well, yes, possible, pero hindi siya entirely tama. Bakit? Kasi ang gusto ng root knot nematode is buhay yung organism para tuloy yung kanyang survival. So, hindi niya necessarily pinapatay agad yung halaman. Kasi kung pinatay niya agad yung halaman, wala nang kakainin yung iyong root knot nematode. So, that's one. Pangalawa, hindi death yung common na symptom, but rather, yung ano yung common na symptom ng root knot nematode, it's root knot, right? So, nagkakaroon ng swelling, nagkakaroon ng knotting doon sa roots ng halaman, and therefore naaapektuhan ng yung pagkalaki ng halaman. Not necessarily namamatay yung halaman, pero hindi siya ganun lumalaki as robust as kailangan niya na paglaki. So therefore, ang hindi tamang sagot dyan, so something that do not characterize a root knot nematode or a root feeding nematode is the letter C. It causes death of plants as a typical symptom.